in my opinion, I think they're killing the game. Listen, gentlemen, obviously, I've been on stream break, but Blizzard hasn't been on doing Blizzard things break. So I wanted to talk about a little bit of a situation that's been occurring recently, and this has been over the past, like, maybe week or so. Now, back whenever they had, like, the poll for whichever mount people want to see in the game, everybody voted for the Wandering Ancient. I wanted the Caterpillar, and it turns out we're getting pretty much every single mount except the Caterpillar. So that's really cool. And so I wanted to show you guys what the mount is that we're going to be talking about in the video here. There we go. Jigglesworth Senior. It's actually a really cool mount. It's clearly using the old, you know, the old cat or tiger skeleton. You guys can see it, the skeleton, right in there that we've seen ever since Vanilla WoW. And this mount's being added back into the game. Not back into the game, but this mount's being added into the game. And it was originally a reward for completing all of the Fated raids, period. But it has hence been changed to now it's only a reward for completing the raids on normal or higher. Now guess what? There's a lot of LFR Andes that are not happy about this. People are pissed off, they're mad, they're pissed off at Blizzard. And I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why they are pissed off and why I think that I don't necessarily think that it's a bad idea to have it on normal mode, and I don't necessarily think that the LFR people are right, but I think that the reason why they don't like it is actually something Blizzard should take seriously, if that makes sense. So they're not right directly, but their concern is fundamentally legitimate. So basically what I was thinking about is the fact that whenever you raid in WoW, most of the time that you're playing WoW, you're not doing the boss. And I noticed this whenever I played Final Fantasy or I played Lost Ark or something. And I would be spending almost all of my time doing the actual fight. I would either be dying to the fight, I would be wiping, or I would be running back this short little amount of distance back to the fight, and that's about it. And I did actually a chart earlier today to show what it's like raiding in WoW. There we go. And so here, this is the time breakdown, the time analysis breakdown of how much time you're spending in WoW actually completing the raid. And I think this is really what the issue is, much more than the mount itself. Because one of the biggest reasons, so like, why do people like LFR? People like LFR because they can come and go whenever they please. Fundamentally, this is a little bit easier to do in LFR than normal mode, but I think it's just about as easy in normal mode, to be honest with you, because whenever you're in normal mode, you can join a group at the boss that you're actually even trying to kill. Now, this is even easier now because you have cross-realm groups cross-faction groups, so you're able to queue with people from Horde and Alliance, so it increases the pool of people that you can play with as well. So whenever you look at WoW, also, another factor with raids that people always say is that they don't have enough time to do the raid. Oh, I don't have enough time to raid nowadays. Well, why is that? Well, I'll tell you why that is. It's because half your fucking time is being wasted by bullshit that's not the fucking raid. You're applying wipe protection. You're buffing up again. You're clearing the trash. Oh, you've got to clear the trash, and then, oh, you pulled too much, you wiped, let's run back, let's do it again. And every fucking trash pull, I mean, this is like a mandatory for most, and like I know everybody watching this video is in a top guild, right? Every single person who watches this video is in a Hall of Fame guild that clears trash in one pull. But there's a lot of people that are below us, okay? You have to understand that, and those are the people that are upset about this. And those people are spending 10 plus minutes between every single boss. And this is not like, oh, let's strategize about the boss. This is mandatory, I would say fun, but it's the opposite. It's a mandatory dick in the ass. And there's a lot of them. It's a forest of dicks. And guess what? People don't like it. People don't like having their time wasted by having to clear trash pack after trash pack after trash pack. Like, you go over, like, look, where's the fucking raid? You know how fucking annoying it is to get to this boss? It's like, how many pulls do you have to do? It's like 10 pulls to get to this fucking asshole. Like 10 pulls to get to this asshole. And then even to get from him to these guys, there's more pulls. Holy shit! What are you doing? Now, why is trash so bad now? Why was trash more okay back in the day? Number one, people didn't realize that it was bad. People were just not conditioned. Raids have always had trash. It's just always how it's been, right? Well, guess what's happened since then? 15 years of innovation. And people don't want to just sit there and AoE down a group of ads that poses no real challenge other than to challenge the amount of time that you waste in the raid that night. So guess what? Guess what? A lot of people don't have time to raid. And I think that the real problem with this whole situation is the fact that whenever Final Fantasy or whenever Lost Ark has some sort of feature like this and it's not available, it's a raid-only feature and it's hard to get, you don't see this level of complaining. You don't see this level of crying and getting mad. And I think one of the reasons for that is because the amount of time that WoW players spend in the process of raiding, fucking Genesis to Revelations, how much time you spend in the entire process not even doing the raid, not doing the boss, making the group, getting everybody there, summoning. Oh, you don't have a warlock? Better have 2 people run to the outside of the instance and summon that person in. Then after that, you've got to apply white protection. Oh, you didn't apply white protection? Good job. That's a -6 minutes. For what? The fuck is this? Why? I think that a lot of people don't have time for WoW because WoW deliberately wastes it. There are so many things that WoW has in its rating system that are a deliberate waste of time that Lost Ark and Final Fantasy and many other games, in the same way that we went from Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1 to Elden Ring with Stakes of Marika, not losing, your health bar whenever you die. These have been improvements that have occurred over a long period of time, and these improvements are not shown with World of Warcraft's design. And they need to be. World of Warcraft needs to, again, be what made it a good game in the first place. An innovator of the genre. At this point, World of Warcraft is the only game that is not using these innovations. It's a huge problem. And I think that's one of the big reasons why people are not happy about having to do it on normal mode. Is because normal mode introduces a lot of extra things into the raid that make it take way longer. And because of that, you're taking something that should take maybe like 30 minutes if you're just doing the boss fights, and you're turning it into a 3-hour endeavor. And guess what? People are going to get tired of that, and they're not going to want to do it because they don't have the time to do that. And the game just simply doesn't respect their time. And I think that's why it's one of the big reasons why people are not happy about having the mount put on normal mode. And I think in that way, they're right. I think it is a huge problem. And I think more and more, even you have high-end players that feel the same way. It's what everyone wants. Yeah, exactly. And so who's complaining about WoW's raid time, to be honest? I think that a big reason why people complain about having to do normal mode and higher-end raids is actually not because of the difficulty of the raids. It's because of the difficulty that the logistics present in order to do the raids at all. It's like the logistics difficulty is harder than the raid itself. So yeah, that's the problem. Scribe said the same thing. Yes, he did. Scribe said the same thing. He's a world first raider. This isn't a casual perspective. This is something that many people across the entire spectrum of people that play the game think. So WoW needs to cater to dads these days. Used to be teenagers. No, it's not about that. Like, teenagers and dads don't want to do this anymore because that it's been realized that it's no longer necessary to do that. It's no longer necessary to arbitrarily waste 30 minutes of your time every raid night. No, actually, you don't need to do this. It's not important. You don't have to do this. Like, yeah, fight's still hard, game's still challenging. It's crazy. So I'll read some comments here about this, but overall, I think that that's really what the issue is. is that the game makes it to where you don't want to approach harder challenges because there are so many other meta challenges that exist within approaching that challenge. Finding the right group comp, finding a team of people to raid with at a specific time that is of course made harder because you need 20 people to raid in Mythic and not just 8 like Savage or Ultimate or in Hell mode or Hard mode in Lost Ark. You need over twice as many people to do the hard content. And even the easier content you need, think about it, right? With Lost Ark at least, you only really need 2 supports. Most of the other roles in the group don't matter. But whenever you're making a 10-man group in WoW, you guaranteed need 2 healers and 2 tanks pretty much every single time. So the amount of mandatory roles in WoW is also higher. So it makes it even harder to get a group. So simple things are missing, like keeping food buff. Yes, why do you have to get a food buff every single time that you wipe? Why is this? How like, and again, this is a good question, right? This is the way, like, I think that every WoW player should approach the game. Does this make the game better? And I think that having to get a food buff every time that you die does not make the game better. I did it in Final Fantasy. You don't have to get food buffs. Guess what? It's better. That's it. So that's the way I see it. Then remove the buff. No, I don't think you should remove the buff at all. I think you should have food buffs that are unique and change the way that you play. And that's actually what they're doing in Dragonflight. I think they're making a great decision with that. I just don't think that they should go away whenever you die. That's stupid. Slime Cat would be good, 500 mount reward, true. A lot of them now persist through death, but food buff and others don't. Just update those to that. Exactly, that's what I think is a good idea. Wizard and mana oil, true. Absolutely. And oils, flasks, etc. persist through death, so why not food and class buffs? I don't know. And you also have certain classes, like a Warlock, for example, like not having a summon in your raid. Like imagine if you do a raid and you don't have a Warlock in it. You're automatically going to be wasting, if you do a 4-hour raid and you're rotating people in, you're going to be wasting minimum 20 minutes. And you can easily say, like, oh, well, you should have a Warlock. Well, what if you don't? You're just going to punish those people, make them spend 20 extra minutes? How's that fun for them? Like, that's not a, like, I fucking hate this mentality that certain players have where they take pride in having their time wasted or having time wasting mechanisms that they were able to overcome. Just because you are able to overcome a mechanism that wastes your time does not mean that the mechanism is good. Just because you can have wipe protection doesn't mean having to run back to your corpse for fucking 3 minutes after every boss pull is a good design. It's silly. I think it's ridiculous. Give everyone some abilities then. I think what they should have in front of every boss, they should have, you should respawn right in front of the boss every single time. As soon as you attempt it the first time, you respawn right in front of that boss after then. And then on top of that, the same place where you respawn at has a little portal, and you can summon people directly to that portal. Yeah, absolutely. It's a waste of fucking time. This is why people don't have time to raid in WoW. It's because half their time raiding in WoW is being wasted by fucking bullshit. That's why they're pissed off about the Slime Cat. That's why they can't find groups. That's why people are buying carries. It's because raiding in the game isn't fun. People aren't buying carries constantly. Carries are not a massive problem in Lost Ark with Vaulton. Yeah, people buy carries for Vaulton all the time. But there's not people complaining about this like they do in WoW. The reason why is that people that want to do the fight like doing the fight. It's fun. And there's not a bunch of like arbitrary problems that are being put in front of you for no reason. So yeah, I like we need massive quality of life changes to raiding, because simply the competing games have these and WoW doesn't. And it makes WoW look a lot worse going back to it. I know this myself personally, and I'm curious what you guys think too. You know, if you guys watching the stream right now or in the comments, what was it like going and playing like Final Fantasy or playing Lost Ark and then coming back to WoW raids? Did you feel like you were wasting your time all the time? That's the way I felt, at least. I don't think that like every raid should be like Trial of the Crusader. I think that sometimes there are points where trash is important, but in a lot of cases, I don't think that it is. I don't think that pulling group after group after group of mobs and AoEing them down while interrupting one NPC inside of the group, I do not think this is engaging gameplay. I think that is just simply time padding mechanisms that end up doing the opposite because people opt to not even do it in the first place because it's a waste of their fucking time. So that's what I think happens. Quick fix is stop making trash respawn. I have an even better fix. Make it not spawn at all. Final Fantasy has some trash in Alliance raids, but at least there's some shortcuts. Yes, there is. And then also a lot of the trash actually teaches you the mechanics of the boss. And there's like mini bosses where like, you know, the mini bosses give you a little bit of, you know, cosmic flux, or you get something out of killing the mini boss. It's not just an arbitrary time wasting mechanism. Why is it that people were more okay with doing trash back in like vanilla WoW or TBC? It's because gear scarcity was much higher. It was much harder to get good gear back in the day than it is now. Now you just go buy it on the auction house because most of it's BOE. Back in Naxxramas 60, if you got misplaced servo arm, that was amazing, and you can only get that from trash, so clearing trash was okay. But now, because there's so many other resources and ways that you can get gear, having that type of a reward is not compelling anymore. And also you had rep. Hydraxian Waterlords, AQ rep, I think Nax had a rep as well. I don't even remember. I think it was for like crafting, Argent Dawn or some shit. And then of course you had like Karazhan rep, Ashen Verdict rep from Black Temple, and I think there was a Sunwell rep as well. I don't remember that exactly. And ICC I think is the best example, is you would want to clear trash in ICC so you could get the rep to buy the ring and some other patterns as well. So trash used to play a much larger role in the raids where it actually had its own intrinsic value assigned to it. But now that value no longer exists. But the system still does. So it's become vestigial. It's become outdated, it's become antiquated, and it's become a waste of time. Let's remove the waste of time. Let's stop wasting people's time in the game. Stop adding punishment mechanics for losing. The punishment for losing is that you lose. You don't need to have insult to injury. You don't need to waste people's time beyond that. It doesn't make people feel good for accomplishing something like that. It just makes them glad that they don't have to do it anymore. And you see that with all these people that are exhausted from having to do this stuff and people that are not happy about this. LFR creates a terrible environment where people are so displaced and dispersed amongst each other, you can just effectively slack off and watch Netflix and spam the same button and you'll never get kicked out. It creates a terrible social experience, and it's a bad system that replaces and invalidates content that should be relevant for the entire expansion. I think LFR sucks. But I don't think the solution to LFR sucking is making people do normal mode in the state that it's in now, because normal mode is not fun to play. For a lot of people, it's fundamentally not fun to play, because I guarantee you a lot of these people would make time if they enjoyed it, and they're not making time. Making something that could take 40 minutes take 3 hours or 4 hours, just by having these, again, arbitrary time-wasting mechanical meta challenges like grouping and having the right comp and summoning people into the instance and running back to the boss and wipe protection and buffing up and all this bullshit. This is all a waste of time. And I think that other games have shown that you don't need to have this. You don't need this. It's not necessary. Let people play the game. So yeah, that's what I think. I think that obviously the mount's pretty cool. I'll show you guys the mount again. There it is. This mount's pretty cool. I also don't like the idea that everybody should just get the mount for doing basically zero effort, because all of the other mounts that are zero effort mounts, like this mount, like all these other ones, right? Again, on the Wandering Ancient, like very few people ride these. The only people that ride these are people that don't have any other mounts. So, like, I don't see these being ridden around because there's no accomplishment to it. There's no effort to it. There's no success to it at all. So, like, I don't think the solution to this is to just make it easy to where everybody can get it with no effort. I think it's to make the effort that you invest into getting it actually rewarding and fun. Make the progress fun. Why is the focus of the game not to be fun? That should be the only and the specific and the prime directive. Make it fun. And straight up, I think that a lot of the normal mode raids and the time-wasting variables that the game has now, and it's always had these, but again, trash has had more value in the past, and I think also gamers and players have just evolved. People have played other games, and these other games have had better ideas, and people want to see those ideas added into WoW as well. I think it's a changing of not only demographics, but also player tastes, and also, like meta mechanics, like trash drops, reputation from trash, etc. So there's a lot of reasons. And that's why I think that they need to really reevaluate how they look at raiding as a whole. And they should look at the people that are unhappy about the cat not being an LFR and think to themselves, why is that? And instead of think to yourself, oh, these are just lazy, bad players, because yeah, a lot of them are. But a lot of them are also people that just don't have the time and don't want to waste their time sitting through a normal mode raid. It's a big problem, and I hope Blizzard takes it seriously, because if you look at the raid participation, it goes down every tier, basically. Less and less people are clearing the raids. There's got to be a reason for that. Let's talk about why. I'll read some comments. How would you populate the castles without trash? You could still have some trash, and you just make the raid smaller. There's I don't think that oh, well, it would seem empty. Okay, well then let's just fill it with a bunch of stuff to waste players' time. Trash adds to a sense of scale and immersion. Yeah, the first week. How many months is this shipping out? Yeah, the first week it's like, oh, he killed the trash. That's cool. Yeah, I don't. Number one, I think that this is like so. Do you understand that adds to the sense of scale and immersion was the same logic that the developers for New World had whenever they wanted you to walk back and forth across a zone to kill 3 pigs? You understand that was the same exact logic? So I don't want to hear about adds to a sense of scale and immersion. I'm talking about wasting your fucking time. It's so immersion. It's a terrible comparison? No, it's not. It's a perfect comparison. It's all these theoretical values that very transparently are meaningless and personal to people. So that means that you can never say oh, this is guaranteed a value for everybody. What if people don't care about that and they just want to be able to complete the raid and do the fights? Imagine 30 minutes of trash pulls in a 3-hour raid night. Yeah, think about that. That's 1/6 of your time that you're spending not even doing the raid. Amixia has 3 mobs to pull and the fight was great. Not like they can't do it. Yeah, of course. And there's other examples for that as well. Like in Crucible of Storms, you never had to worry about the trash for Unhat because you'd wipe on the first boss forever. Yeah, you'd never get through Cabal. Raids should have no trash. Trash is for Mythic Plus. I think that raids can have a few trash mobs and things that make sense, right? I think a good example of a trash pack that's cool is the Gauntlet before... I'll use 2 AQ examples. The Gauntlet between going from Battleguard Sartura to Fangris. You know, where you're going through the massive tunnel and you're having all these ads and you're fighting through them, and it's an actual challenge in itself to get through this. That was really cool. And then another one that was cool is in 20-man AQ, now it's 10-man, General Rajax, where you would fight his lieutenants, and then at the end you would fight him. So I don't think that trash is fundamentally bad in all circumstances, but I think in most circumstances it is. I actually think so. Yeah, I think it mostly is. And in most of the WoW circumstances it is. So all dungeons are garbage? No, of course not. Dungeons are... So basically whenever you're doing a Mythic Plus dungeon, you you are basing it off of your mastery of the area as a whole, and that is being graded not as an aggregate, but as a whole thing. You're not being graded on how fast you kill boss 1, boss 2, and boss 3. You're being graded on how fast you clear the entire thing. Now, I think sometimes dungeons can have too much trash too. New World is a great example of that. Holy fuck. Like doing Lazarus, why do we need 18 different NPC gauntlets where 3 NPCs spawn, then we have to kill them, then 3 more spawn, then we have to kill them after that? Oh my god, how many of these are there? But yes, I think that dungeons and raids are two fundamentally different things. And also dungeons are not designed to be done in, I don't know, like 3 or 4 hours. Like I would say like an average raid for all of Sepulchre would be probably 3 to 4 hours. They're meant to be done in a half hour. So it's just a completely different time structure and time schedule. It's not comparable in any way. Past 2 tiers have felt lifeless. I think that affects the amount of clears too. I think so too, yeah. Yeah, you're right. What's your thoughts on trash with rep tied to it? Like, maybe the system just isn't good. Maybe it's just not a good idea to have people arbitrarily AoE down packs of mobs for 10 minutes in between each boss. Like, maybe that's just bad. Maybe it's just bad design. That's my viewpoint. You only do it exalted? Yeah, exactly. Blizzard has a freaking mindset of time gating everything. Yeah, like, nobody wants to have their time wasted. Solution is better trash or no trash at all? Both. I think cutting the time invested in trash down by at least 80% and making the remaining trash that still exists fun to do, or at least interesting or compelling or challenging, doing those two things should be the goal. Better trash equals less trash? That's a good way to say it. If not the trash, you wouldn't buy all the best BOE gear? Good. Next, trash that's thematic. It's not thematic. There's nothing thematic about grouping up a big pack of mobs. You don't even know their names. Talk to me about thematic. Just group them all up and AoE them down. You don't even know what they're called. Do you see kind of like what I'm saying about how I think that people's complaints are... I think that they're right in not being happy, but I don't think that they're right in the reason why they say they're not happy. So there are a lot of cases where people are not happy with the amount of time that normal mode takes. And if you say normal mode takes a long time, and I say this is why it takes a long time, if you take this stuff out, then it won't take a long time, then I'm actually agreeing with them whenever you really think about it. Yeah. So about Classic then, I'm curious why Classic sees so much success with rating where it's declining with retail. Simple. Okay, so why does Classic see a lot of success where retail does not? Number one, Classic trash has a lot of reward structures that are better. You're getting reputation from trash. You're getting, like in Sunwell, right? You're getting gems from trash. You're getting the patterns from trash. You're getting BOEs from trash. And some of those BOEs are like best in slot items. Like actually, well, I know the patterns craft best in slot items. Is Mounting Vengeance best in slot? I'm pretty sure it's not. But there's like maybe 1 or 2 of them that are really good. But either way, yeah, what I'm saying is that there are a number of really good items that are good from trash. And this is true even in like Karazhan. You have like Rissen's Lost Pendant. You have like the fucking Boots of Illusion. And this goes all the way back into Burning Crusade, or sorry, Vanilla WoW, with, you know, you're trying to get fire cores and lava cores to craft your fire resistance gear from back in the day. And also, people back then had world buffs, so they were able to clear the raids super fast, so it wasn't as bad. Tier 5 raids had dope-ass patterns. Yeah, Belt of Blasting, Red Belt of Battle. I remember those pretty well. Those were really good. So you had actual rewards that were compelling, but usually the rewards with the trash drops nowadays are just like BOE items that get outdated after you clear the raid a couple of times. So they don't really matter as much. Wouldn't the answer be make trash more meaningful then? Well, I don't really think so, no. I don't think so at all. I mean, you could make some of the trash more meaningful, and I think that it's again, it's an answer that you apply. You have to come at it from 2 different directions. You come at it from a direction of reduce the amount of trash drastically, and then you make the remaining trash meaningful at the same time. So, like, yes, but, like, that's not really the main solution. Because, like, I still don't think farming for, or, you know, clearing for 30 minutes or, you know, 20 minutes, 15 minutes doing trash is going to be compelling whether it drops BOEs or not. I just think it sucks. There's less trash. Should the bosses be harder then? No. Well, why would you make the bosses harder if there's less trash? No. It's WoW brain. Yeah, WoW brain. Like, people that have only played World of Warcraft have never even played another game. WoW brains are so stuck. Yeah, like, they can't even think outside of this prison that they've been given. Please, try other games, play other games, realize that this is not the way it has to be. Classic WoW being inherently more of a social game than retail also influences people doing the raids. Yeah, I think that's another big factor too, sure. And also, like, people are pursuing Classic WoW with the context of knowing that it's Classic WoW. Like, you go into it and you know that you're playing the old version of the game. There's kind of like an implied consent that this is going to be the way the game will be played. Yeah, trying to min-max time. Let's be real, who cares? Just play. Well, I think that's silly, right? So you're saying, like, anybody who plays a video game shouldn't care about wasting their time because playing a video game is a waste of their time? I can guarantee you, if you were raiding with somebody who was wasting your time, you'd be pissed off. That's an opinion that anybody knows that this person, anybody that writes that, doesn't really believe that. Anytime that they're fucking raiding and they're getting fucked with, they're getting their time wasted, they're just as pissed off as you are. Intellectually dishonest comment. True. Very true. Trash is something that needs to be tastefully done, not too much of it, especially no repeating packs. Yes, reduce it by at least 80% and make the remaining amount actually meaningful and give you rewards. That's what they should do. It's a weird mentality to have. If we believe that reduced trash clear time, you need to increase boss clear time. Addicted to wasting time as if it's a badge of honor. Oh my god, bro, that is so fucking true. Holy shit. Oh my god, that's the truest reel I've ever heard. You are so right. Yes, addicted to wasting time as if it's a badge of honor. Well, somehow we have to waste 4 hours. No, you fucking don't. Stop it. I really think that WoW needs to reevaluate on a fundamental level the way this game plays, the way raiding plays. Because in my opinion, I think they're killing the game. I think they are killing the entire raiding scene. And I can go through the logs. I will show you very, very quick. Actually, I'm not going to get into it, but, like, look at how many more people play TBC. How many more people play that? The raids are way too fucking hard. They're massively punishing in a way that they didn't used to be. And on top of that, you have to waste a bunch of time doing other bullshit. Now, obviously, the old raids, you had to do this bullshit too, let's be fair. But they were a lot easy, so you didn't have to do it as much. So people didn't perceive it as being as bad. And also the trash had more meaning to it. So again, just to wrap up pretty much what I feel about this is I think that what Blizzard needs to do is they probably should reevaluate the reason and the way that they design the raids on a fundamental level. They should look at go be Blizzard, bring your invisible GM character and watch the Realm 12th Guild clear Sepulchre of the First Ones and itemize their time and look at how much time they spend inside of the raid and even getting ready to go to the raid, and then look at how much time they spend pulling the bosses. Because I can almost guarantee you that with a lot of these guilds, except for like the super fucking efficient ones, they're wasting over half of their raid time not even pulling the boss. So big surprise people don't have the time to do. They have to double their time investment than any other game. It's insane. They need to completely reevaluate the way that they do raids. And I hope that they do that for Dragonflight. These are very simple solutions, allowing players to respawn in front of a boss, having a summoning stone near bosses. These are very simple and very easy solutions, making food buffs not go away whenever you die. It's not like you have to reinvent the game. You don't need a massive patch for this. Just make the game a little bit better and players will appreciate it. I think it's important. It's really important, in my opinion. And hopefully Blizzard takes it seriously and we see some big changes. Because if you don't, you're going to see the same aversion towards raiding, and you're going to see the same declining numbers, because people are going to other games and playing them instead, or going to an easier version like Classic and playing that instead, where effectively a lot of these systems aren't really the case because you kill the boss the first try anyway, which is why they're doing LFR. That's it. That's what I think. Hopefully they're able to fix it. This is a huge problem with raiding, and I hope that Blizzard takes it seriously. That's it. Why does Blizzard love wasting our time so much? Because players hold on to the time that they wasted in the game as some sort of a badge of honor. That's why. I got this mount in 2013, one of the first years that it was out. I got it on my first kill. I got ridiculously fucking lucky with this kill, and I got that mount. And you know what? I think they should increase the drop rate for it. Because just because I got lucky and I had to do a shitty farm, I don't want to make it to where every single other player in the game has to do that same shitty farm. Because it's bad game design. It's not fun to do. Players in MMOs, again, they treat playing the video game like they treat it like work. Like, oh, you have to work at this. Well, I don't want to work at it. It's a game. I want it to be fun. It's just, again, it's like this fucking, like, MMO players taking pride over having their time wasted. It's just so reductive. I hope that Blizzard stops listening to them and they try to actually make the game better. It's 1 in 2,000 and you can only attempt it once every fucking 2 weeks for a year. It's ridiculous. People running this on like 30 characters a day. That's what makes it special? What do you mean special? Like, people would like hate the mount and the mount would be bad? Like, special, it's not fun to do. It's stupid RNG FOMO. Yeah, fuck that, man. WoW brain strikes again. It's just so sad. Again, I hope Blizzard stops listening to these people for Dragonflight to make the game good. That's all I've got. That's my TED Talk. I'm done. That's it.